Hey up guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Atletico beta save, where I brought you back slightly early just because January took a lot longer than I was expecting. So what I'm actually going to do for this episode is I'll give you the end of the transfer window as a sort of special episode more than anything. Next time round we will do Valencia and Barcelona, although Champions League has popped in directly after that, so whether or not we go for that. I did realise, by the way, as soon as I finished, basically as soon as I was editing last episode, I forgot to actually include the Champions League draw as part of that. We got Galatasaray, so as things go, I'll take that, absolutely. Whether or not we bring that to you, I don't know. We could obviously bring you Barcelona and Galatasaray part 1, and then bring you part 2, and Real Madrid, actually. I think the next 2 episodes will be Barcelona, Galatasaray, Real Madrid. It's lined up wonderfully for us there in that front. But anyway, running through the results in January. In terms of the ones that matter, everything's gone well. We lost the final in the Supercopa, which I now understand is like a mini tournament that happens in January, just to fill a gap, I guess. I don't know why it exists still, other than to plug that gap. I'd rather have the week off just so I could let my players rest, because there's still a game every 3 days. The Ligas are ridiculous, if I'm honest. 5-2 Alaves, 4-0 Osasuna, Real Sociedad 5-1, Real Oviedo 4-0 in the Copa del Rey, Tenerife 2-0, Real Mallorca's still struggling to beat for some reason, but we did get past them 2-1. We did go down to them, actually. We did overturn the deficit and beat them this time round. Surprisingly difficult opposition on Mallorca for some reason. However, I do just want to bring your attention to one goal that did occur in this. By the way, there's been a few more crashes. I've had a look online. It's not just me. It's the thing that's happening in general. So I'm glad I'm not alone on that front. I just want to bring your attention to this first Felix goal. You may notice there, actually, Haaland has started scoring a little bit. He missed a penalty and then scored 2 minutes later in that one. But yes, I just want to bring attention to this goal because, well, this happened. Not quite David Beckham / Rooney levels of... We scored one of those goals, basically. That's what's happened there. Now, transfer news. Firstly, Rossalco's gone. I feel almost a little bit sorry for Rossalco. He has been slightly done in by, I think, mostly his injury, I guess, has sort of taken a knock on his general stats. And actually, since we sent him off, he's been re-injured by the looks of things. He did play once for us, but I did send him off. He was on £89,000 a week, and as not the first choice right back, I wasn't really happy for him to be on that much, so he's gone to China. As has Vitolo. Same club, actually, picked them both up. So yeah, both of those guys have gone to China, and both of those guys pretty much just marginally less than what they were earning here as they've gone off over there. So that's great news for both those. Freed up those wages a little bit, which is really important considering... I may have done a bold thing. I was informed of a list of players whose contracts are running out in the summer, and amongst those was Ericsson. He hasn't been snapped up yet by anyone, so I thought, why not? It does make things marginally interesting in regards to Felix. We have managed to get him on only £120,000 a week, which I think is not that bad. Considering Cristiano, and considering we're getting one off free as well, and the estimated cost if we were buying him right out would be somewhere between 60 million and 86 million. I mean, even in regards to profit, if we were to sell him on in next January or the summer afterwards, I think that's a ridiculous bit of bargain, really, when you consider the player. It's a position we didn't really need to strengthen when you immediately rank him up against the other prospects, and in terms of the club itself, all 3 of these are regarded 4 or 5 star for that attacking midfielder role. And Ericsson immediately makes them all look rubbish and average. So I think it's a good signing. We'll see. What this does mean, though, of course, is we're still in the market for a right mid, with Vitolo disappearing. I have, slightly foolishly, maybe sent Maria on loan to Getafe for the rest of the season, which is good news for him. It just means he's playing pretty much most of the games for them and getting the game time he wouldn't get here. Lamar has been injured pretty much the day later, so I'm now very limited on my attacking midfielder roles again. So yeah, we're in the market for the right mid, essentially with about 10 million in the bank because I have severe restrictions on how much money's come back to me. One of the most annoying things right now is Douglas Costa is available. He's surplus to requirements for some bizarre reason, and I can't sign him because I have 3 non-EU players already, which would mean I would have to get rid of Felipe, Rain and Lodi or Arias. And two of them are absolutely necessary because they're my backup fullbacks. And the other one's my starting centre-back. So Felipe is the most expendable. He's 30 years old, and I could get a defender in. That's not an issue. There's one potentially happening as things go already. So we might see what happens on that front. If we can shift Felipe, maybe we could get another player in. I'm not entirely certain how this is going to go. But yeah, as you can see here, it's just the fact he's classed as non-EU is the most frustrating thing. No one's gone in for him yet, which is good news for us at the very least. But we are looking for, well, I will edit this and I will add an age restriction on it because I'm fairly certain I can. Right, so now we're looking at young right-sided players. And if I'm completely honest, there's not a massive amount. Now, Bergwijn's on the list as being scouted, Guedes, but he's on a lot of money. For a backup, we need someone who's not on a lot of money. Realistically. Everton, again, is the same issue here. He's left-sided primarily anyway. Neres isn't being listed. Neres, again, is Brazilian, so we can't get him in that sense. I must admit, Jack Clark did really well for us for Burnley, but I'm not sure he's quite up to... Kluivert is another option, actually. He's regarded as left, but he is right-footed. He does have a strong right foot. And he's an inverted wing on the left, so he could easily train him to be a normal winger on the right. He's only being regarded as 8 million, actually, as an asking price. And as a backup right winger, or who can actually also cover the left, if necessary right now, it's probably what we need most of all, because as soon as we get Maria back next year, that's very, very much we've got 3 central attacking midfielders. And Lamar can cover the middle as well. So having someone to cover the left, other than Doku, if we send Maria back out again on loan or whatever, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Estimated cost. I'm going to offer... I think I'm just going to offer straight up like 10 million. Maybe just quickly stick in a... I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to offer 11 million for Kluivert. Accept those demands. Oh, they want 25.5 million for Torres. It was someone... It's this minimum release fee. It was the other one I was eyeing up, but I can't afford that, unfortunately. So this is the... Oh, God. He's happy being emergency backup. I will just remove the strengthened midfielders one, just because I'm not planning to do that. He wants a lot of money, though, is the problem for an emergency backup. I think I should be able to get him to 60. But when you look at his overall, I mean, 15 tackling, 18 heading, 14 marking, jump and reach obviously off the chain. Not bad physicals for a 31-year-old. I genuinely think he's actually really quite good for his value. My issue here is Felipe's on a decent amount of money, and he's also very good. I can't justify getting rid of Felipe for... Well, certainly that guy anyway. I might end up rejecting Ranocchia, actually. Because realistically, the one to make way would be Savic. And even Savic is better. He's not quite as good defensively, I'd argue, but his mentals are so much better. And when you put it like that, it kind of says everything, doesn't it? I might reject Ranocchia, actually, now I've done that. The defenders I have are better... The argument is this, though. 85k a week for the player I'm not actually playing when you've got 56k. Savic is the one that should make way, but I'm not really sure this is something to do now rather than next summer. I think the central defence situations is something to do next summer. I think I will end up rejecting this, actually. Particularly if I need Kluivert. No, I need him now. I need him now. Yeah, I'm happy to pay you a little bit more now. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That'll do us. Yeah, I really need him now. Is the problem. I haven't got any players. Squad player, regular start, important player. I'm not entirely certain that will come to pass, but I'm not going to be here probably long enough for that to matter. I think 60k was probably sensible. But that higher, I think, would be sensible. 20. Oh my God, get rid of them. Jesus. Got about. I'm not sure how much I've actually got available to me. Well, quite a lot. It looks like I have quite a lot available to me, but there is. We've got to consider the fact that Ericsson's coming back, and obviously Diego Costa comes back at the end of the year. So that'll do us. I couldn't have him. I couldn't have him on 90+k a week. That's absolutely for sure. That would have been foolish. Oh, 5th round draw. There's only 8 teams left, and all the big boys are still here. So it's basically the top 7 plus Sociedad. Well, we do avoid the biggest of the big boys. Levante will do us fine. But we need a right winger in, like, now. Yeah, Levante will do us fine. Transfer deadline day is actually tomorrow, by the way, not on the 31st. By the way, yeah, there was just a question regarding Renan Lodi. I looked at his page. I looked at his individual page, and he's actually really quite good. I feel like he's being not star rated correctly, so that's fine. I can actually still sign him now. I can still sign him. I mean, compare him to Savic as well. In the key defensive stats of tackling and heading, Ranocchia wins. 60k for an emergency backup. We've got 4 central defenders, and one of them's currently injured. A lot of money per week. Well, I say a lot of money per week. By these standards, it's not that much, but gonna have to say no. The centre back situation is something I'm gonna have to do next time. Considering we've actually signed him for less money than I was actually even given from the sale of Vitolo, I think that's not bad going, if I'm completely honest. I think that's realistically the only thing we absolutely needed to do right now. In regards to available players who we can get in on loan, I don't think there's anyone who's an upgrade on any player that we currently have, which is the issue. We could obviously loan a centre-back for the rest of the season. And when the weird thing about Phil Jones is, in-game, his stats actually do work. He's actually a quality player in the game. And I would argue he's better than Savic in the game. Reece James isn't better than either my right backs currently. We don't currently have a. Actually, that's a good point. We don't currently have an attacking midfielder centre cover right now, particularly with Lamar being injured. So it might not be a bad shout getting one of these two in, or even this lad. If I had the money, I would actually be considering that. I think just on pure stats, just looking at it. Also, this guy down here. Oh, actually, I just open both of these guys. I just open both of these, and should be able to then comparison the two. I think these two are the front runners. The guy at Sevilla, I think we could probably get in on loan. A mandatory future fee, we can't do. As a backup to Felix when necessary. I think that's sensible. Toku now can speak fluent Spanish, which is only going to help. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Just for the rest of the season, just gives us an extra player in that. Basically just fills the gap that Maria left. So, Maria's gap has now been filled. Vitolo's gap has now been filled. I think everyone's okay. I'm not actually sure. I don't think there's anyone left who's... It's only the goalkeeper, whose contract runs out at the end of the year, who isn't on loan. So, that's good news. Oblak's runs out next year, but deadline day has passed, and just those two players in. For the time being, of course, Ericsson comes permanently in the summer. And then this has occurred. Felix has picked up 5 goals in 4 appearances, player of the month, and it appears he's dedicated it to me. So, thank you. Thank you for that. So yes, that's the squad for the rest of the season now then. One right back less, I guess, is pretty much just net one less player in general, but Vasanko was out injured for the first half of the season anyway, so it's not really a loss in that sense. Yeah, so essentially we've just sent one player out on loan, got one player in on loan, sold one player, bought one player, and got rid of Vasalco. So that's basically the net result, and for a net gain of £110,000 a week, not bad going. And considering, essentially, Vitolo leaving has allowed both Kluivert and Ericsson to come in, minus £10,000. But I think that's not bad, really. Just one player going finances 2 players coming in on the level of Ericsson and Kluivert. Obviously, Ericsson in the summer, but I think that's really not bad going. Obviously, Haaland has a permanent transfer in the summer and an increase in wages as well, which is more than covered by Vasalco leaving anyway. So I think we've done really quite good business there. Yeah, looking at that now, we definitely couldn't have afforded the centre-back, so I'm not too disappointed. He looked a lot better when I was initially going for it, considering the price versus quality. I'm hoping I'm vindicated on that one going forward. I think we do need to look at centre-backs in the long run. I think the first 2 choices we have right now are very good centre-backs for the club, but whether or not he's worth £56,000 a week. That's the thing for Felipe. It's just annoying that he constitutes one of the spots for non-EU players. Is Savic worth 85k a week? Maybe just. I mean, 85k a week in the grand scheme of things, but you've got players on, 185,000, £200,000 a week. And again, Saul's something we're going to have to look at. Do we try and shift his wages? 57 million he's worth. We could get a good amount of money for him. But again, he's one of the homegrown club players. So getting rid of him damages us in that way. And it's really quite annoying that some of the most likely players to shift have such real good importance in other factors. Like, of course, Felipe's low wages, Saul's homegrown club status. And it's very frustrating in that sense. Of course, the other ones, Arias and Lodi, 23k a week, 28k a week for one of very good backups in those positions. Reno Lodi, by the way, I will show you his stats. He's actually really quite good. Mentally, not quite there, but he is 21. And apparently he can grow a little bit too as well. So we're crossing 15. I mean, defensively, 11 heading, 11 tackling isn't that great. Let's be honest. But going forward, he's really quite good. Arias doesn't really have any room to develop, but again, he's sort of in a similar situation. Although he's not quite as good going forward, but what he lacks going forward, he has a little bit more in the tackling front. He's certainly back up to Trippier anyway, put it that way, who offers a little bit on both those fronts. Neither of them are any good at heading though, which is annoying. I don't think either of them are particularly tall. I think is the issue there. I think the squad is good as is. I think we need long term. We need a little bit of quality in depth in centre back. We need a little bit more quality in depth in the centre of the field. I think the front line we're good. I think for the front line we're good for now. Obviously, Morata becomes a permanent transfer in the summer and absolutely belies his 13 finishing, 13 composure in terms of the quality he provides. Erling Haaland has actually started scoring on a slightly more frequent basis now, although he can't score a penalty to save his life, despite 15 penalty taking. Weird thing is, he's missed 2 penalties and then scored immediately afterwards twice now, which is fantastic. Fantastic keeping his head in the game. But I'd like him to score the penalties in the first place, really. Let's be honest. Anyway, thank you for joining me. It wasn't quite as manic on deadline day as I was expecting. I was really expecting someone to come in for say, like Lamar. People keep sniffing around Lamar in particular. I was really expecting someone there. Correa too. People keep sniffing around Correa. I was really expecting someone to come in for one of those two, which would have been massively problematic, considering we're only on, I think it's 30% funds back to me. I would not have been able to get a replacement of the same quality for the money that we would have got in from the 30%. That's for certain. So I'm very glad that didn't come to pass. So thank you for joining me. Until next time, which will be Barcelona and the Galatasaray first half. Until then, ta-ra.